Good evening and welcome to the Critical Focus channel and this painting update of what is now a growing KRULEBOYZ army with some added orcs from other factions. So yeah, you can see here what I've painted so far, and I'm using only Sentinel priming and contrast paints, well, with an asterisk because I am using some light highlighting and metal paints, but 90% of it is just contrast. So yeah, this is the army. It's basically the Dominion box with some extra goods swapped in from Underworlds. So let's just dive in and look at the individual models. Yeah, maybe strange to start KRULEBOYZ showing Savage Orcs. But yeah, let's start with one of my repainted Warbands from Underworlds here. The Savage Orcs of Headcracker's Madmob have been repainted in this technique as well to make them fit in with the army. And I love these models, especially Tooth Dagger. I think it's really imposing in his pose is what I'm trying to convey. Lots of fun details here with all the feathers and tokens and stuff, so they make for an intriguing addition to this warband, I think. Okay, so maybe the least impressive part of the army, both painting wise and battle prowess wise, the Hobgrotz Litas. Only they have their use. They can attack from range with grenades, and I guess they are decent at holding objectives. Yeah, nothing fancy to say. I tried to make them in 3 different skin tones as to give some variation to the units, but I probably shouldn't have. If I were to remake them, I would probably make them in the same skin tone, but I guess they suffice for what they bring to the table. Next up is the Gut Rippers, and Gut Rippers come in 2 variations with either axes or spears. So the axes hit slightly harder, but the spears can attack from 2 ranks, or yeah, 2 inches basically. So they have a bit more versatility, and I think these models look fantastic. The shields are painted in a velvety, beautiful red from Army Painter, speed paint, called Slaughter Red. Black Legion, Slaughter Red, snakebite leather, and orc flesh. I have used 2 different skin tones here, orc flesh and orc flesh mixed with guilimann flesh to give a slightly more translucent look to some of the orcs. Didn't want them to have the exact same skin tone, all of them. But I'm pretty happy with these guys. Next up is a killer boss on foot with his trusted stabgrot. Yeah, I've actually missed a couple of details here on the shield, I can see now. But no matter. This, for some reason, is slightly more matte to the finish here. Maybe I've actually varnished this one and I haven't gotten around to do that with the other guys. I think there's like a super matte varnish on this particular model. Yeah, it's basically the same theme as with the other guys. What is more apparent on the big model here is that I have used a glaze called Waywatcher glaze to give the orcs this kind of slimy finish to them, which hints that their weapons are poisonous and just makes them more boggy and dirty. I like it. Yep. Right, next up are these beautiful man skewers. Really lethal ranged fighters. They deal 2 damage. The only caveat is that you can't move, I think it's like you can't move more than 3 inch if you want to shoot the aim shot. Might be mistaken, but I'll put the war scroll up so you can read for yourself. The leathers here are painted in basilicanum grey instead of snakebite leather or goregrunta fur as their melee counterparts in the Gut Rippers. Otherwise the paints are very similar. Some aethermathic blue added to some aged details on the metal as well to try to emulate the box art. Yeah, these 2 were probably my favorite models to paint of the whole bunch. The Swamp Caller Shaman is just a beautiful model. And his little potgrot fellow is just so cute and really fun model as well. I'll show you the backside of the models here as well, so you can see all the details on their backs. The huge skeleton on the Swamp Caller's back. Where you can truly see the benefits of doing Sentinel priming. This is only skeleton horde painted over the Sentinel priming, sloping downwards into darker parts, and you will just have a very natural transition into darker areas, basically. I did some light dry brushing on the top as well, but I mean, wasn't really necessary. Just felt like adding some details, but you can just totally get good results without doing that as well. And yeah, all this stuff on the Hobgrotz back is so super cool. Very Samwise Gamgee with all his pots and pans. Yeah, really love these models. Alright, so this model is obviously super cool. The killer boss on Great Gnash Tooth, and they have 4 attacks each, and if they charge they have 5 attacks each. So they are quite lethal. I think they are like 11 or 12 wounds or something. Let's put the war scroll up. I'm probably misremembering most of the stuff here because I'm super new to the system. It wasn't such a drag to paint as I dreaded it would be. The skin tone is red mixed with some brown. Speed paints and contrast. Yeah, I mean, most of the other paints are similar to the other units, so no real surprises here. Green on the base is probably among the only things that's not the contrast paint. It's a moot green, because I wanted it to stand out slightly more. Yeah, otherwise I'm trying to emulate the box art as much as possible. I didn't do it with the skin tone on the Gnash Tooth, however. It's quite a bit redder than the original, I think. But I am very happy with the end result. I could have probably spent more time with this unit than I did, and I might go back and add in some details, but yeah, I'm perfectly fine with the tabletop standard of its current shape. So yeah, killer boss on Great Gnash Tooth. Alright, so next up is another addition from Underworlds, not being a KRULEBOYZ army or warband. It is the Crushers of Limurguk, and I've painted them in contrasts as well. Added in some rusts because I thought it was fitting. Maybe didn't pull off the rust effects that good, but they suffice, I guess. Just a caveat: painting yellow over Sentinel might be where it starts being a bit problematic, at least with this quite aged iyanden yellow, which wasn't in perfect shape, and I mean the temperature was a bit warm, so I had to use a lot of medium to make it flow. I think they look quite okay for what I had to work with, and they will make a fine addition to the army. Alright, next up is the Cunning Crew, which is 170 points, and pretty decent stat line. They have a bit of range as well, and as long as you have like Crook Green alive, you can pass morale checks automatically, and as long as Torka is alive, I think you have some added assist thing going on. Mannequin also uses Crow to attack from range. It's a bit interesting there because it's not a fixed range, it's 3d6. But yeah, these are not painted in a contrast scheme, but they were close enough in style that I kept them anyway. And also a lot of Waywatch green here to really dirty them down and make them look all algaed up. Here we have a Merc Knob with a Belcher banner, which is a really cruel icon here. This wide maw with a cut-off tongue hanging out of it, rotting big beast tongue, and a lot of severed heads all around the model. Yeah, it's really cool, and I've dirtied him down a lot with this Waywatcher glaze, and yeah, he just looks imposing and super cool. Yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this little paint update. I am, as of now, awaiting by mail a couple of other really cool models, and not least the Breaker Boss on Meyer Trogoth, or I think it's called something like that. It's a big troll with 2 giant clubs. Sitting on top of him is this cruel orc steering him and goading him basically. So that'll be really interesting to paint as well. So the army is growing, and so if you have enjoyed this and enjoy regular Warhammer Underworlds battle reports and the occasional Kill Team one and the occasional Cursed City one, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and post your comments below on what you would like to see next. But for now, this has been me, and take care. Bye.